The long wait is finally over. Riot just announced brand new information on 2SKO regarding their new champion Vi coming to the game, as well as the closed beta dates that will be coming very soon that also leads into their full release. This is probably the least amount of information that we got from this development team after being quiet for so long, but I will say that the information that they did tell us was very impactful because it kind of gives us a glimpse at what we should expect from them in the future. My only question about all this is that with the information they presented today, was it enough to hold people over and keep them excited about 2SKO? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to be going over Vi's reveal and giving my first impressions on those. We're going to be talking about the closed beta dates and to release information. And finally, we're going to be going over how everybody is currently feeling about the state of 2SKO, because if you've seen social media, everybody has been giving their thoughts and opinions about this game even way before today. And so to get this all started, let me give you guys my first impressions on Vi. When thinking of any character that should have been in the 2SKO roster, Vi was undoubtedly one of the no-brainer picks in this game. This is because if you've seen where 2SKO was officially revealed originally, and around the time where Arcane was gaining popularity, she was one of the faces of League of Legends that everybody looked forward to seeing within this game. And so I'm glad that they were finally able to reveal that she was one of the last remaining characters that will be coming with us upon the official release of the game, and I honestly can't wait to get my hands on her because she's actually looking pretty sick. If we look at her overall playstyle, she does have that rushdown boxer utility that we're more than likely used to from a lot of other different characters. So much so that she reminds me a lot of Akihiko from Persona 4 Arena and BB Tag, due to her having very similar sway mechanics and a lot of animations shared similarly with him. She seems to have a lot of mix-up potential with her due to being very left-right mix focused, which is pretty similar to Akihiko. So we can probably imagine that she's going to lack a lot of lows and fast overhead options just like him as well. She does seem to have a command grab though, which will add layers to her mix paired with her speed. So honestly, regardless if she's going to be a mid dispenser or not, I'm super excited to try her out and actually main her until we get more characters added into the game. They've also seemed to put a lot of inspiration from classic Capcom versus characters into her kit as well, like Spencer and Captain Commando. She has bionic arm as a super and even baby versions as a special, so definitely don't test any Vi main's reactions in neutral unless you want to get knocked up. She also has Commando's Captain Corridor as an amazing anti-air tool, which has me hoping that this is going to be one of her assists, making her a very strong character for a lot of teams. I love seeing when developers pull inspiration from different characters in order to culminate a kit for one of their own characters within their own fighting games. I know a lot of people are bringing up the fact that when looking at Vi's animations and everything about throughout her trailer, she actually looks like one of the characters within DNF Duel, and they share a lot. And I mean a lot of similarities within their animations. But when seeing that, I also want to mention that similar to how I brought up Akihiko and just the boxer style characters in general, you will notice that a lot of them share very similar animations and styles of play, just because that's just a traditional way that most fighting game developers make their characters. Like I mentioned, Akihiko is one, Vanessa from KOF, Yang from BB Tag, and so many more. If you look at a lot of their trailers and how their overall kits are designed, they are very similar in what the traditional things that they do, but they do have some very unique things about them that separates them from each other. And Vi still has that too. She has her own parry mechanic that allows her to counter enemies. It kind of looks like a big burst bubble or shield that she puts up, and it leads into full combo for her. And then of course she does bring in the order punches, which I think is just an iconic move that you just always have to give a character if they are punch focused, especially if you're in form of like an anime art style. Overall, Vi looks really good so far from what we've seen, and I can't actually wait to play her once we get into the closed beta coming in September, which I'm super excited for. Now let's get into talking about the closed beta into release. Closed beta for 2SKO will be starting September 9th, and it will be rolling out into the full release. Now we don't have a time span on how long this closed beta will last, but I'm going to hope that it at least lasts a month so that we can get more and more players active into the games and finally falling in love with what the game that they're providing for us. Now, some of the rough information they do present about this closed beta is that it's going to be PC only to start, which means that all the people that wanted to enjoy it on console, you won't be able to. Also with this closed beta, it is closed, so that you still have to sign up to get access to it, which honestly, I think this is a rough decision due to everybody been waiting so long to play. But if you're someone that did have access within Alpha Lab 1 and 2, you automatically have access, so you don't have to worry about it too much. They're also going to be giving out more codes, but the whole goal is that gradually over the entirety of the closed beta, they will be opening up the game more and more as it progresses, and then eventually at some point branch into console, which is good. The betas are also going to be cross progression, so if you're somebody that's a console player that got in through the beta and you was able to play on PC, you're still able to take all your progression of unlocking all the character stuff that you obtain. All of that will go with you when you sign on to your account on console, making it very seamless and easy for you to continue joining the game once we get our console rollouts. Also, that they mentioned with this upcoming beta into full release, there's some major changes that were made to the combat system. The core idea of the changes that they made were to prevent the overall issue that they had with Alpha Lab 2, which is the whole thing about players timing out each other. So some of the changes that they made is that at the beginning of every round now, you will start with 1 bar super meter. You now only start with 75% break meter, in addition to no longer being able to gain bonus break when a champion dies. They nerfed the amount of gray health that you get and slow down how fast you regen health as well. Throws can now be punished with throws, backdashing was nerfed, and super meter no longer will carry over each round, but break meter will. All of these changes sound pretty drastic, and they actually feel like that they are going to be moving us in a better direction in order so that this game doesn't become timeout central again. But I will say, I believe some of the changes that they mentioned probably should have waited on to see if it really needed to be changed or not. But we'll see as the game progresses what they showed so far and the ones that they made. This should be a really strong package at the beginning that at least should be exciting gameplay wise for us to enjoy and consume, and I hope very much so, because Alpha Lab 1 was really fun, but Alpha Lab 2, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really enjoy it as much because it felt like a much slower and lamer game in comparison. All in all, those were all the changes that they made to the game, and they look pretty solid right now. But with that, all of that being the information and brand new news that we got for the game, was it enough to keep people excited for it and looking forward to playing this game once the closed beta happened in September? If I'm going to be honest, no. 2SKO is in a position where they lost a lot of players that they were initially trying to grab in the FGC. This game was marketed and titled as a fighting game made for fighting game players, but a lot of the changes and the decisions that they made along the way kind of caused a lot of fighting game players, a part of the community, to lose faith in this title and confidence in that statement that they kept pushing towards us. This is mostly due to the long development cycle that the game has had, resulting to a product that is extremely lean and at the same point felt like it lacked direction. Like every version of this game so far that I personally experienced felt drastically different every time I played them, making it very hard for me to overall maintain a similar assessment of the game, and it always felt like that I always had a changing opinion every time I played it again for the first time. It also got to the point that 2SKO is one of the few fighting games that I was never really able to get comfortable with, even when I had time to sit at home and play it on my own. That's a very weird feeling that I've never experienced before, and I think it's mostly because of all the drastic changes that this game has had, making it a hard thing to lock in with, since it just never stayed the same, or at least stayed similar enough. The product as a whole, as I mentioned before, is also very lean, to the point that we are only getting 8 champions so far when coming into this closed beta, which means after almost a full decade of this game being in development, we've only got like 1 character a year made, and that feels very frustrating, because that overall limits the expression and experience that we can have within a tag game, which has never been heard before. Now, I know that they said they're going to be pushing this to 10 upon release, but even with knowing that, this puts them way behind a lot of tag games that came out even within recent time. Like, this game has less characters than Hunter and then Impact, and I think that game has 16, and that roster is deemed as small. Dragon Ball FighterZ, when that released, only had 24, and people were even calling it kind of small then. So having even less than those games for 2SKO makes this game feel like a very, I can't say rush product, because we know that they've been working and it's been in a long development cycle for a while, and they've been changing a lot of things drastically. But I think that since they've had to change the game so much, it made a lot of people that were fans of the game and very excited for it kind of depressed and not looking forward to it as much, because now they know that some of their fan favorites from League of Legends isn't going to make it into the game, and people that are a fan of fighting games and just love deep diving into the system now realizes that there isn't going to be so much to deep dive into once everybody finally gets their hands on it. So it's kind of a lose-lose position for everyone, because not only are developers in a position where they have to push out a game that they aren't completely satisfied with, but now all the consumers are getting the game that they're not happy with us either. So overall, you pair this with the drastic changes the game's been going through, the roster size, and honestly the poor communication and rough marketing, and you end up with a player base that was once excited for the game now transitioning to the point if they even wonder if they want to experience the game for the first time now. And that's kind of rough. I don't think this is how everyone feels, but I think this is how a lot of players feel, especially from what I've been seeing on social media really recently. We are at a point where everybody just wants to play the game, and we still can't get to a point fast enough where everyone can just play the game. I don't know, it's a weird feeling, it's a weird thing. And I want to be honest, I think 2SKO is a rough sell for players now, because the road that got us here was so bumpy, and they have competition coming their way that are starting to pull players' interest, even though that they're technically releasing first, especially against the big hitters coming up next year. This is mostly due to the development of games like Invincible Versus and Marvel Tokon feeling and looking a lot more confident now. And sadly, as a product, it seems like they're going to even offer as much as 2SKO or even more content to them, which again, they aren't even out yet. That's crazy to think, and I mostly think this is due to because of the long development cycle that we've been made well aware of with KO, and that they've been so open about it, it makes the game feel like we've had it for so long, but we haven't had it at the same time. Now, luckily for KO, they still have somewhat of an upper hand left for them, and that's mostly due to the game being free to play. So I still do think they have a chance to rope players back in with the game if they make very smart and strong decisions leading up to the game's future release and throughout the closed beta. They need to show players that 2SKO is a game that's still worth investing into, and they need to do it fast. But as someone who has gotten a few opportunities to speak with the development team, I do have faith that they can do it, and they will do it with this game. I do believe that they can still rope people in. I do believe that they still can make a very solid product, even with a little bit of shaky mess that they've been going through leading up to this point now. And that's because I still think that 2SKO is still a really fun game to me. It's a game that I want to coexist within the market for a very long time. And with the League branding, I think it still has a lot of strong staying power to do so, because everybody loves the League so much. I know this part of the video is probably a little bit rambly, but mostly I just hope that this team continues to put their best foot forward and show the people that 2SKO is a game that's going to be strong and is going to be worthwhile in the long run. So with that being said, I'm someone that's still excited for 2SKO, and I honestly can't wait for more news to come with the game during EVO. So if you guys want to see any more updated information on this game, definitely stay tuned to the channel. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and always remember to believe in you that believes in yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one.